What's up, y'all? It's your boy Bz, and we back at it again with another message. Today we're gonna be talking about healing the wounds that you don't see. I'm trying to figure out why this little piece like standing out. All right, so healing the ones that you don't see, right? All right, so I think this is an important thing that. All right, well, let me. Archangel Gabriel and Archangel Raphael, I ask that you be with me as I go into channeling this message about healing the wounds that we don't see. All right, so starting off, the first thing I'm gonna say is the importance of really healing a lot of these wounds is so that we become more of, the better version of ourselves, right? And a lot of times, like, we think we are our best version, or we think we a certain person, or who we really want to be, but we're really not, because you can show up as like a particular person, but it's the internal that is what is the real confidence, is what is the real strength in knowing who you are. And I feel like a lot of times being in this world, it takes away from us seeing that inner, because we're also focused on everything on the outside. But the first thing I want to get into is the things that we never healed. So you think about certain things that you may have been through, you may have experienced, or you got hurt over. A lot of those things we never really got to the point of really healing it. We only got to the point of, oh, weird. I don't know why. It seems like that's so weird. I don't know. It seems like my this may be symbolic, because that's two things I pointed out that I didn't see. So this is kind of like the energy, things that you don't notice, right? But it's there and it needs fixing, or it needs healing. But the first one I want to touch on is things that we never healed, right? Throat chakra, right? So this may be things that we may have had a hard time speaking on, or had a hard time dealing with, and it hits us so hard because it's something. It's like when you go through something once, you're like, I don't ever want to experience it again, or I don't ever want to, But then a lot of times, because you never really healed that experience, you literally go towards those same things time after time, or you'll keep up a particular behavior time after time, because that's all the situations you've dealt with. So you just think it's going to always be the same, so I have to keep dealing with it this way. But a lot of times it's not like that, right? It's just because you haven't healed those wounds of like how you were done, or the hurt of those situations that have put you at that place. You just haven't got to that place where you're healed enough to not, because that's the thing. Not, I get it. Those situations are supposed to teach you to the signs of what it looks like when a person is on that type of time doing that. The perspective I'm getting right now is more of like possibly relationship, So you may have looked at relationships in a particular way because of something that you've been through time and time again with different people. But that was a part of it, right? You were supposed to be learning from how those people were showing up to you. But then also it was the other half of like you learning, like, why do you attract to these situations? What is it about you that you continuously give to these situations, or you put yourself in positions that are not good situations? I hope y'all can hear me because it is a little windy outside. So, but yeah, I'm gonna keep going. So it's those little things that we go through in relationships that also build on, our behavior patterns of how we treat people, how we respond to people, how we deal with people. It's usually always based off those past experiences that we've had. So we feel like, oh, it's like, or even if you get one little sign, right? It may not be the whole situation, but you may get one sign, right? Or one little something from like a past situation. So you'll be like, oh, damn, it's just like that one. So let me, boom. And then you make that same judgment, or you make that same outlook on something that may be good for you as bad, but it's because you haven't healed those wounds, right? You haven't seen that it's something that causes you to act that way. How you treat people, how you decide, how you deal with people, how you handle situations, how you speak. A lot of those things come from that. The other part of it is, it could also be from things that ever worked in your favor. So it's kind of like when, let's say if something didn't go your way, right? You may feel like, damn, it just ain't meant. So then you'll kind of put yourself in this mindset of like, so you'll start building this wound that you're not good enough. And a lot of that usually does kind of start from, Well, I'm gonna get to that one later. But a lot of those wounds, you know, you don't really see it because it's past things that happen to you, you know, past outcomes, past predicaments, you know, you've only seen it to a certain point, or it's kind of like you only see it to a certain viewpoint. You're like, all right, boom, whatever, like, but you know, it's kind of like when you try to forget something, but then it comes up, you know. All right, so I'm moving on to the next one. This one really talks about more of, well, I basically did touch on this one too. Past hurt that you haven't healed, and how it dictates your like the future of what you expect. So I guess I'll jump to the third one. I thought it was gonna be a long video, but looking at the notes, I don't think it's gonna be as much as long as I've already touched on two in the first one. So the last one is childhood wounds, right? And as you grow and you get older, I don't really know what age range whoever is watching this, but if you're definitely above a certain age where you're not a kid anymore, a child, a teen, especially if you're not like a young adult, if you're like older, right? A lot of those childhood wounds that you guys have experienced, and you could be my age, I'm 25, so you guys could be my age or a little younger too. It doesn't matter. This message is for everybody. It's not just for one specific age group, one race, one nothing. This is everyone collective message. So, childhood wounds are usually one of the deepest that we deal with, especially when we grow up, right? If you've had like a bad childhood, right, where you know you've dealt with particular people, or you've had particular like parents that treated you a certain way, or your environment was toxic, a lot of times you'll see it manifest later as, you know, like boom. For example, I remember I had this one friend come to me recently, and they were saying how, you know, that they were dealing with this particular female, and how they were dealing with her the way that, you know, their dad dealt with females when he was growing up, you know, or seeing how that dynamic, you know. So now that's what he's emulating in his relationships, right? That same dynamic that he saw from his parents, or from his father. And so that's one thing we got to realize. Like a lot of that is programming, but a lot of those childhood wounds come from the parental figures the most. You know, yeah, you will have some where it comes from like friends or childhood. You know, just a little growing up. You know how kids are. There's like some kids that nitpick, bully. You know, but it's more from the perspective of like the parents. And so you think about people who've never had the parents in their lives, right? They deal with the hurt a little more because they've never had that stability of mother father. They've never had that nurturing from the mother, right? But then they never had that action or hustle or responsibility from the father's aspect. So they're just kind of living their life based off of what they've been taught, whether it be from grandparents, aunties, uncles, whatever, you know, whoever had to raise them. That's usually where they'll pull a lot of that from, of who they are. But starting out, when they have those spaces of being neglected, abandoned, forgot about, a lot of those things stem into later in life, and that's how they'll have that outlook on how people see them, you know. And sometimes how they'll preview people or certain situations when it's kind of like those fears, right? Fear of abandonment. It's kind of like, so you'll leave the situation. So if you had a parents that abandoned you or just didn't really care and gave up on you, you know, that's that abandonment. So you have that abandoned love from a parent that still is within you, but it manifests now as when you get into situations, or if you meet certain people, or you're in certain circumstances, if you don't feel that the situation is going to stick out or play out longer, then you'll just run away, or like you'll abandon it. So you'll abandon something that you think is going to abandon you. Whole time it probably won't abandon you, right? But it's the fear, and that's where a lot of our wounds are surrounded around. Some of them are surrounded around fear, and then some of them are surrounded by actual abuse and actual hurt that we have experienced time and time again. But with us talking about the childhood ones, right, it deals more with those fears, you know, because later those fears manifest into you being a particular person that has a particular outlook on everybody, or a particular outlook on the way that you handle situations, or how to, or like the particular way that, you know, you view you know. And I think that it's just important that, you know, we take away the factor of fear, because fear is the biggest thing that is really keeping a lot of us stuck, and a lot of us in this place of not feeling like we can heal, because it's that fear of like, can I even do that? But then part of it don't even, because it's like before you even get to the fear of can I do that, you're still stuck on the fear of if you're enough, if you're making the right decisions, if you're really at where you want to be at in life. Do you compare? It's all of these little things that we put on ourselves. It's like this like self guilt that we build up because of maybe a position that we're not at where the next person is at, or maybe we don't have a particular personality as the next person. And the only reason why I feel like I'm channeling this is because this is things that we experience. We're all human. We all have different experience. Like at one point in time, I used to be, and I can say this very confidently, I used to be jealous of how certain people looked or how certain people had a certain personality. My biggest thing was like friend groups, you know, because it was like I never really had those friends, you know. It's always been me. But so, you know, over time, it's like when I do try to attach myself to certain friend groups or certain things, I kind of see it's not good though, you know? And so I kind of see like, but it all stems from not being able to do it back then, you know? And so then now it manifests as me just trying to like attach to friends or people pleasing people just to have them in my life, you know? And I've learned to just release that, right? And no, if people really want to be in your life, they care about you, they love you, they're going to show up. The same way I would too. But I've had to learn that I had to get that to give that. It's a different, now, most times I usually give it, but if I keep giving it and then I see it's not being returned, I have to do what is best for the love of myself, which is to pull back and give that to me. Because sometimes we can do that, you know, and that's another wound, you know, the people pleasing, right? So that's the whole attention, not getting it. So what happens is you'll tend to overgive so much, or you feel like you got to do so much more just to get people's attention, their time, their energy, you know, when it should be just a natural flow of it's been given, it's been received, I'm giving it back to you, you're giving it back to me. But when it's more of from a perspective of like you feel like you have to do things to get that attention, or you have to do things to get noticed, like that's usually where it comes from, that people pleasing. And that's from that part of yourself that never probably was seen, or never really, you know, it's like trying to keep people attached, keeping the attachment. So usually once you start building past these attachments and you start building past a lot of these wounds that keep you from being your best version of yourself, right? And that's the thing. I can't tell you, just because I'm on here and I'm like, I may have it figured out, I still don't have it figured out for myself. But this is from the work that I've already done. This is from the work that I've already, you know, did on myself. So I can be here and be in a mirror for you guys to see that, like, okay, I wasn't at the best point, but now I've elevated. I wasn't at the best point, but I did the work. You know, I wasn't at the best point, but I worked on myself, and I gave myself a chance to be a different version of who I may have been before, which is the part that a lot of us tend to forget, because like I said, this reality keeps us so here. It doesn't keep us going, like, you know, or I'll put it like this, right? Certain environments don't allow you to go outside of who you really want to be. You think about when you're in certain environments, you can only be a particular person. You can only be who they know you as, right? So then you don't really have that freedom to expand yourself, to be more, to be who you really want to be. And let's say you don't even really know who you really want to be, what you want to do in life, right? If you've always been in this particular pattern or a particular environment that only gives you a limit of saying, well, this is how far only I'll go, you know, you got to break free from that. And yeah, it is going to hurt, because it's the comfortability that you have in these environments that allow you to feel like you don't have to change, or you don't have to do anything differently, you know? But this is the thing, right? When you crave change and you crave being better and you crave wanting to have better experiences in your life, right? You got to do the work at some point, because if you don't, then you're going to stay in that same cycle of experiencing the same things, right? And it's like what I said before, like, what do you necessarily change it to have a better experience? Or are you just still settling for that comfort, you know? And it's like I said, it's the reflection moment of you being honest with yourself through and through. Like, through and through, not just, oh yeah, okay, I look good, everything look good, right? No, it's not always about that. Because see, that's what I said, that's the illusion that is built within us, that if we look good, we feel good. If we're doing this, then it's all good. But sometimes it's more than, because it's about those times where we're really by ourselves and it's one-on-one, and we're not trying to show up for the world. But it's like, who are you showing up for yourself as, right? And if you look at your mirror, if you look at yourself in the mirror and you see yourself showing up as a version of yourself that's hurt, that's wounded, that's not perfect, right? What can you do for that version of yourself that you're looking at, that you know? And like I said before, if you don't have a particular vision of who you want to be, what you want to do, right? That's where you do the more you start doing your self-discovery. That's a part of the self-discovery journey of who you are truly. And I feel like a lot of people miss out on it because, like I said, they get into a particular lifestyle, they get into a particular habit of living a particular way that they feel like that's just how it ought to be. It's kind of like how they say about the people who be like, no offense to 9 to 5 workers, but they be saying how like some of them like they'll just 9 to 5 for the rest of their life, right? And they may not ever really get to really experience a lot of things that they truly want to do, right? It's getting a little windy now. I'm not gonna cut the message off, but they'll miss out on doing a lot of things they want to do, or just because they felt that was the only way that they were going to be able to create their life, or that they were going to be able to live their life, right? But that's the thing, we live in a place where we have infinite amount of opportunities to create whatever we want to do. People can start their own business, clothing brands, fragrances. There's so many things that you can do to create your own what you want to do, right? But it's about it dies from those passions. Like, yeah, I know we came here for the healing, but it all transcends though. That's the thing, like, because healing your wounds allows you to open up more to these higher versions of yourself that you can experience. It's not just me. You guys can experience this too, but it is kind of energy of like, how bad do you want it? But it's also about, okay, but am I going to stop being in denial with myself? And am I going to start being real with myself? Am I going to start being honest? And that's where it gets hard, because we're so programmed to just only, it's the ego. That's the part that really, stops a lot of us from even doing the healing. It's the ego. Oh, I'm good. I'm fine. I'm straight. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm not the problem, And a lot of times when we try to off-place the blame, or we try to off-place this hurt that we feel onto other people, or put the blame on other people, we tend to forget ourselves, and how we got ourselves to that point. And it may not actually necessarily be like you did something right, but it can also still be sometimes how you handle something, your viewpoint on something. Like, there's always something to be learned on both sides of a relationship. There's always something to be learned on both sides of a family dynamic. Any situation, there's always going to be two sides that could be learned. And I think that that's an important thing that we have to remember. Like, it's not going to always be perfect. I think life is not meant to be perfect. If it was meant to be perfect, do you think we would still be here? Hell, we probably have flying cars and shit by now, technically. But I'm just putting it in a metaphorical sense so that you guys can understand, like, more of like how if it was all perfect, how good it would be, But it's not perfect for a reason. It's because so we can do that work to get better. We can go through the healing the wounds that we have inside of us, so that we can become a better version of who we truly want to be. And like I said, even if you don't know who you want to be, don't let just because that's the thing though. Even though I'm saying like you don't have that better version, it's still like this, right? You know how when you see people and certain people inspire you, like, damn, like I wish I could be like them and just be so confident in this, or I wish I could be like them and just be so freely to do this, It's a lot of those things too that you may not look at, and that's what I'm saying. That's what you don't see. It's those things that inspire you that you don't see as well, Or like you may see it, but you don't put it in your mind. It's like that's what you really want to go after. That's what you want to like be like. You think how when kids, right, they have particular, like, as kids, they see these things that they become fascinated with, and they're like, oh my God, I want to become a firefighter. I want to become a nurse. Oh my God, I want to become this. I want to become that, right? A lot of that stems from what they see. So it's the same way, like, as we grow up, when we see people that are in certain positions, and it's not saying to be like them, but it's saying they inspire you to be better, or they inspire you to be more of a better version of yourself, or they just inspire you to be true. That's what I was really trying to get at. They inspire you to really be true to you about who you are becoming, or who you can become. So that's why it's just important to really just get to the point of like healing for real. And I understand that it may be hard, because it's more, what's the part that's really more hard is the really being honest with yourself, confronting how you handle things, how you do things, how you maneuver, how you a lot of that is hard for us to comprehend, because we want to see ourselves as this perfect version of ourselves so bad. So if we have it's kind of like, you think about a lot of people that when they see all the people that be on social media and they have all this stuff, they have all this money, everything, and you may look and think that they have everything figured out, but those people have way more problems, and they probably, well, they may have the same problems as you do, right? But they tend to have, you know, more complex problems that we don't see, that they may be numbing with drugs, money, alcohol. You know, there's a whole bunch of things that you can numb with, but you know, when you get to a point where you really see, like, but it's kind of like, imagine how I always say, if a lot of those things disappeared and it was just you and you, and it wasn't you to go buy this to feel better or go do that to feel better, you would be faced with going through that reflection moment of how I'm here right now telling y'all this message. It would be that reflection of how you would have to really look at yourself and be honest and be 100%. Because that's why I said, when we by ourselves, that's usually when we get down to what we really feel. And that's why I be telling people, like, when you by yourself and you feeling so much, journal, or like make a voice memo and talk about how you feeling. So when you look back at that, you can really get a view of like how you're feeling. Because some people, they be more in their head, but they don't know how they're feeling, you know, or they don't know how to process a lot of it. So it's harder for them to grasp the concept of what they're even feeling, you know. And that be the hardest part of healing. We can't grasp what we're really feeling. So how do we even know what to heal? How do we even know where to start? Because it's like, what do I even? But that's why you need to start journaling how you feel. You know, having moments where you're talking to yourself, and you know, if you don't even want to say that you talk to yourself, have those conversations with God, like seriously, because that's what's going to really help you be able to get to pinpoint these things. It's kind of like if you was to ask God, like, God, please show me my wounds, or God, please show me like where I always go wrong. God, please show me like what is it that I need to. He gonna show you. He gonna put it in front of your face so hard that you can't deny. Now, if you do deny, that's on you, right? So you get karma for that, because it's like you see what you can improve on. We're showing you what needs to be worked on. We're giving you the signs. We're giving you the visions. We're giving you everything that you're asking for. But what action, masculine energy, what action are you taking to get better? What action are you taking to gain understanding? What action are you taking to see the perspective, you know? And if you're not, and it's staying the same, who do you blame? We, at some point, we all have to take the blame for the things that we do, or the things that we take on, or the things that we put on ourselves. It's not always just going to be other people. And I don't know why I keep reiterating this, but I guess it's like part of the part. Because you know what? I'm going to say this too, right? Sometimes when it comes to healing your wounds, I get it. There can be in certain circumstances, it will be like that, where it's more of like, well, damn, they did this to me, and so it made me be like this, you know. But like I said, it's still a reflection moment at the point of like, but why did I allow that? Why did I feel like that was okay, that I could allow that person to take me to that place, or get me to that point, or treat me that way, you know? And that's where you get down to the real deep of seeing how you just allow. But that's what I'm saying. When you get to that part of healing, though, that's where you get more in tune with the love of yourself, for real, because you love yourself enough to understand the way that you act, to understand the way that you treat people, to understand the way that you allow people to treat you. You allow people to show up for you. You allow people to, you know, and that's how you also form your standards, based off of the love that you have for yourself, the love that you have for who you are, that self-love. Self-love ain't always, see, that's what I'm saying. We think it, see, I feel like today's society just put self-love as, oh, doing self-care stuff. That's a part of it, but the other part is really getting in tune with the self-love for yourself, right? The things that you allow, don't allow, the things that you want, don't want, but really getting deep in your heart space, really getting deep in the heart chakra, and connecting with that part of yourself that is a part, because that connection is straight through your soul. Why do you think when it comes to things that we feel sometimes, like we be having a little sensation in the heart, or like you think about like when you're in fear, or you like really anxious, like you feel that pit in your stomach, you nervous, right? A lot of that stems, so that's what I'm saying, a lot of our chakras are tied to certain emotions, certain physical things that we experience as well. And that's why, like, when the meditation comes in, right, you get to a point where you can start doing the meditation work to work on your chakras. Like, you don't have to have anybody else doing this for you. And I think that's the part that a lot of us are going to see, that we can do the work. I mean, that's been the message that we've been trying to tell you guys for so long, that you can do the work, right? But it's about you taking that leap of faith. You don't need to do all the healing in one day, right? But start somewhere. 24/24 on the phone. Start somewhere. Where can you start? And that's why I said, if you don't know where to start, just start having those moments with yourself when you're in that negative feeling, like observe what you're feeling. See how you think about what triggered that. Think about what got you to that point. It's so much that can be 2442 on the phone. Reflection. It's so much that can be seen when we slow down. A lot of times we in the mind and we start running. We thinking about the worst. We thinking the worst. We seeing the worst. We giving ourselves the worst experience because we're in the mind. But when you get out the mind and you get more into the heart, then it's like you really getting in tune with what you really feeling, what you really getting, what's really there. You know, you get to calm it down. But when you're not in the heart and you're more in the head, of course the logical mind is gonna try to connect the pieces together, right? It's kind of like the whole putting two and two together, right? But if you really put the two and two together, I mean, I get it, it's the facts, but at the same time, it's like there is the other half of really in tune with how you feel. Because sometimes, put it like this, let me say this too. Sometimes you could be feeling things that's not your energy, but they don't really get to a point where you usually involved in somebody else's energy or somebody's involved in your energy, but if it's just you, then majority of the time it probably is yours. But it could also be from family energy is too, like a family dynamic, like they could project. Because that's the thing, man, like, man, I ain't trying to go too deep. I wasn't trying to make this video that long, but we kind of getting into it. But sometimes, like, yeah, like some people can subconsciously project themselves onto you, and that's the part we got to be on. Like, we got to really see, like, and that's what that tuning in is gonna do. It's gonna help you really get connected with, like, all right, is this what I'm really feeling, or is this somebody else feeling? Like, but 90% of the time it is what we feeling. But that part was just for, like, just a side part for the people that are dealing maybe with, dealing with other people's energies. So that may be for the people that are more empathetic, or they deal more with the empathy side of things, So they do have to deal with more of, like, dealing with dealing with way more energies that are outside of themselves. That's for a small piece right there. But everything else, yeah, but that's for a small piece at the end. But yeah, y'all gotta just take a chance though. It's that leap of faith that's gonna really give you that huge success that you're looking for. It's gonna be that leap of faith that you're taking that chance to be better, that is gonna bring you what you really want, or things that you really want to experience. So don't be hard on yourself on this healing journey. Be more easy. Be more kinder to yourself. We're not supposed to have everything figured out. You're not supposed to just be your best person the day you come out the womb. You're not just supposed to be your best person the day you come out of high school. You're not supposed to be your best version of yourself when you come out of college. You're not supposed to be the best version of yourself when you get that promotional job. Like, it takes time to build a lot of that up for yourself, right? Some of us, we just know because we've been through experiences that forced us to get to this point. I've been through a lot of experiences for myself that forced for me to get to this point of my journey, to where I can, like, I've been healing for about, well, when I officially started doing it, it probably has been for about like 5 years now. Like, it took some time. I ain't gonna say 5 years, probably like 4 years. But I've been on like 4 years of doing the self-work. And at first, that started as just self-discovery. Me discovering who I was, looking at the things that I like, didn't like, habits I had, bad habits, good habits, looking at all of those things and really getting down to a true point of seeing who I was. Even when it came down to, like, at times when I would be in my ego, because I'm more of a poor person sometimes, like, I may get a little judgy, but I usually always catch myself, I always catch myself when I'm doing too much, or I'm trying to say, because I ain't that type of person, but it's part of my, like, human who I am, So human who I am, like, sometimes, yeah, I talk my stuff and I say what I say sometimes, but I know if I ever overstep it, or if I'm doing too much, I know how I could take that accountability on the back end and be like, you know what, yeah, I probably did say a little too much this and that, I probably did go a little too hard, but that's me reflection of myself, accountability, I've never been afraid to take accountability. I mean, don't get me wrong, yeah, we've all been there where we lied and tried to, I get it, but when you move from doing that and it's new things that you experience, you try to move with so much integrity. You move with so much responsibility and accountability within inside of yourself, knowing that you are trying to do the best that you can. I don't know if we got a little windy again, y'all, but yeah, so I thank y'all for tuning in for this message. I really hope it resonates with some people out there. I know it's probably won't resonate with everybody. I know probably most people probably won't make it to the end, which is okay. As long as you seen part of the video, because the first real half was mainly about the healing of wounds, but we kind of got a little channeling at the end coming in about But it's all about healing, though. I mean, even though it may not have been, we were specifically talking about the wounds, but it's, see, that's what I'm saying. As you do the little work of healing, it increases and increases and increases. So you get to the more deeper parts of healing, you know, the real what you don't see. This was just like the little surface what you don't see, but the other half of the healing is, it goes a little deeper, you know, and it does require you to really be way more honest with yourself, way more transparent. Like, it's kind of like those things where you know it ain't good for you, right? Or you know it ain't something that you should be doing, but you still give in, or you know, it gets a little deeper on that part, right? And a lot of that deals with the will of yourself, you know, that power that you utilize, you know. Some people, they work off their power of impulse, and some people, they strategically use their power, you know. But try this again. But yeah, so that's pretty much all I got. I hope this resonated for somebody out there that was just kind of looking to really see, or you know what, because of the title, which is Healing the Wounds You Don't See, this video may find people that didn't even know that they had healing to do, didn't even know that they needed healing, you know, didn't even know what healing was. So, and if this does reach that audience, or even if it reaches people that are on the healing journey, or that they're spiritual and they're doing the work, there still could be wounds that you have that you don't see, right? But it's about being able to, like, understand it, see it, and be honest with what it is, you know, versus then just trying to accept, you know, like I said, settling for that less part of who you could be versus then being more of the better, or like pushing yourself to be a little more in tune with what feels better versus then, yeah, you're good, versus then just settling for, you know, more of a version that's comfortable, because that's the biggest part that, you know, pushes you to be not. So you just gotta take that chance, and when you take that chance, it's only up from there, honestly. So yeah, I think y'all for tuning in, check out this video. Like I said, I hope it resonates once again. This video will probably only be uploaded to YouTube, so yeah.